everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is a video on Neo by Xerjoff. It came out in 2009 and it's classified as a woody, spicy fragrance, which is kind of surprising to me, and I'll tell you why. So the note breakdown for this is in the top, bergamot, green notes, and neroli. In the middle, you have cardamom, pink pepper, jasmine, and nutmeg. And then in the base, you have vetiver, cedar, gaiac wood, amber, and patchouli. This perfume, if you were in the perfume YouTube culture of the last 5 years or so, especially like on YouTube and on Facebook, Neo has been very, very popular. The fanfare has kind of died down in the last year or so. You don't hear people mentioning it as much, but especially around 2020, people were going crazy for it. And the influencers were really pushing it as one of the best, if not the best, citrusy kind of scent that you could get. So I got myself a decant at one point, and then I burned through it. And as you can see, I have a bottle. And this is not the original bottle design, which is, I think, kind of squared off. This is like the newer bottle that Xerjoff uses. So this is my experience with this perfume. I'll say right up front, I think it's a very high quality and solid perfume. I do like it a lot. There's some things that I maybe don't care about it so much, but I think this is a really good perfume. When you spray it on, it opens with this very intense burst of like green vibrancy. And I would say, look at the logo for green notes on Fragrantica, and that's really what I feel when I spray this on. It's very green, it's very wet, and it's very cooling. So I could see why this would be a good choice to wear when it's in the summertime, because it has this cooling sensation to me. It's also airy. I think the florals give this airiness to it. There is jasmine in here. I don't really get jasmine, but I do get a very strong neroli, and like everybody else, we all get a very strong neroli in this perfume. Neroli is a note that I do like, kind of. And if you don't know what neroli is, it's like a white floral type of note, and it's very bright and it has citrusy elements. It's kind of sweet to me. And you definitely get all of those qualities in this perfume with that note. It's not a soapy neroli, which I was afraid of originally, that it was gonna kind of smell like a bar of soap and you could taste the bubbles, those soapy bubbles, but you do not get that. To me, this is like a neroli blossom on the tree, which is very nice. That's what I wanted. And then in addition to that, I'd say on the initial blast, you are hit with this very like piquant, spicy freshness. And it took me a while to realize that it was actually a very strong cardamom note that was coming through. And I love cardamom so much. I think it's my favorite spice note there is. So that was very pleasant to pick up on. And there's also pink pepper in this. I don't really get pink pepper, but I think it lends a very pleasant, spicy texture. So I don't really smell it, but I feel it in this perfume. And the spices, I'll also say, so I told you this was kind of like a cooling perfume, but I do feel like in the core of this perfume, it does give some warmth. And the warmth I would attribute to the spices and maybe a little bit of the cedar wood, especially as it dries down. The cedar wood does kind of creep in, and I'd say also the bergamot, which is a citrus fruit, it has prominent woodiness to it as well. And I think that the bergamot bridges the woodiness to the base, but it doesn't become the star of the show. I would say in the dry down, and I have the dry down right here on a card, the dry down to me smells very interestingly. I smell a lot of lime, which is a good surprise because lime is one of my favorite citrus notes, and you don't really come across it very much, which is horrible for me, but I do love lime. I do get bergamot, but it's citrusy, and then also I would say spicy. I would say you're getting still that cardamom, and maybe it becomes a little bit more camphoraceous and woody in the profile of cardamom, as opposed to that sweet, bubbly, effervescent smell you get right off the top with cardamom. I'd say maybe it becomes just a little bit woody, but you definitely pick up on that. It's really nice. And the woodiness maybe becomes just a touch, maybe just ever so slightly papery, but that's like if you're really sniffing for that. The dry down is great. And the neroli does peel off a fair bit. So like I said, yeah, it becomes citrusy and spicy in the dry down. The con with this perfume, I think for most people, would be that it might translate a bit as a home care type of smell, like a very nice candle or a room spray or a very nice hand soap, a liquid hand soap. That's the only con I can think of with this perfume. Also, I wouldn't say this is exactly like the most easy wear. It's very pleasant, like I've been saying, but I wouldn't say that this is necessarily like office safe, because the neroli is so intense. The neroli and the juiciness and the greens are so intense at the beginning of the wear, and it does die down, but I could see the profile being a little bit too much for some people, and I could see this even giving sensitive people a headache. Going off of that, I'll say that, what was I gonna say? The wear. I find it to be like a moderately wearing fragrance. I don't find it to be very overpowering in the like longevity and the projection and all that, the sillage. In the beginning, maybe, but after a couple of hours, I think it's very moderately wearing. I haven't worn this by like dousing myself in it, but with a very, maybe 6 sprays on either side of my body, I get a pretty moderate wear with 5 or 6 hours. What else is there to say? Oh yeah, I could see this also pairing really nicely with lilac, which is a note that you should see more of in perfumes, but you don't really see it that much. But lilac, I could see going really well with this perfume if you have something like this Pacifica, what is this, French lilac? What else? Is this a sexy perfume? I wouldn't say it's sexy at all. I find it to be very just like lifestyle, having a nice day out kind of smell. But, some people might find it sexy. For me, I don't find it to be sexy. And then I think a big question people have with this perfume is it unique? I think that, and I hear other people who do reviews, they talk about quality, how you can pick up on the quality. I don't really feel that way much of the time, and I think that's kind of just like them. They're kind of kidding themselves. But with this perfume, I do feel like it is a high quality perfume, and I feel like you can smell that. And especially because of the cardamom note, which I feel like in perfumery is hard to prolong, because it is kind of a top note. It's hard to prolong, and it's hard to convey it in a very realistic way. And this is a very realistic cardamom in my opinion. Like I said, I kind of pick up on the camphoraceousness that cardamom can have, and also the very and pleasing fresh spiciness that it has, a little bit of that sweetness. So this has a great cardamom note in it. And I think it's a high quality perfume. Having said that, it gets compared a lot to, and I'll mention a few other perfumes. This is John Brevedo's Artisan Pure. So that's one of the most compared to perfumes for Neo. I'll say I can absolutely see the similarities between the two. I don't think Artisan Pure has a neroli note, but I do pick up on some neroli in here. So they both are nice citrusy scents with a strong neroli. I would say though that this becomes a bit, it can maybe feel a bit scratchy in comparison to Neo, which does not turn scratchy at any point in my experience. But the citrus in Artisan Pure can, after a while, become a little bit, just a little bit scratchy. Other perfumes that is similar to Neo, people have mentioned, let's see, I'm on Fragrantica right now. My computer is lagging. People compare it to, bear with me. Oh, Cologne. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, by Nishane. I could definitely see the similarity with Cologne. I find that to be sweeter though, and I don't like Cologne. It's a very sweet neroli. Oh, and then, okay, Matrix from Dua. I actually bought that and I sold it. It is similar to Neo. I mean, that's what it's duping. I find though it lacks a lot of the wonderful texture that Neo has. It just kind of feels sort of sweet to me. So Matrix to me wasn't like the best dupe. And then Voyage d'Hermès pops up as similar to, but it has more people saying it's not like it than they are saying it is like it. I can see the similarity, and I think it's because they have wonderful cardamom notes between them. And I've actually tried layering them, and then Neo would overpower the Voyage d'Hermès. But they are kind of similar. So I think, well, Voyage d'Hermès is one of my favorite perfumes. So I'm not going to say that if you love that one, you'll love this, because I love Voyage d'Hermès way more than I love this, even though I do like this. Mugler Cologne, I could see that being similar, but Mugler Cologne is more soapy and more, I think the vetiver is more pronounced. It's more of a easy wear, in my opinion. What else do they have? Bergamot 22, I could see the similarity for sure. And then a few that aren't on Fragrantica that I thought kind of reminded me of Neo. Neroli du Sud is by Laura Mercier, and you can find that at TJ Maxx for extremely cheap. That is very intense neroli. Very, 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 and people have compared it to, I think, like floor cleaner and cleaning products. I can definitely see where they're coming from with that. It's just super intense, and I think too much. And then there is, I think if you like Versace Versense, I think that this would definitely be something you might want to check into. That one has Lily. Okay, so Be Delicious Green Apple, they don't smell the same, but I could see the person who likes Be Delicious Green Apple, I could see them really enjoying Neo. And then the Impudent Cousin Matthew from Penhaligon's, I believe that one has Petitgrain in it more than Neroli, but I think that the person who likes one would like the other for sure. I think that that is everything that I wanted to mention with this perfume. It's a great choice for the warmer months. I wear it all year round. But yeah, that's everything I have to say. So thank you for watching, and have a great rest of your day. Bye.